Well, top of the morning to you. You've reached Tasmania Reactions channel. Welcome. Like, subscribe, share the video, make some comments, let me know how I'm doing. Offline, I'm getting a lot of comments. I appreciate them all. Let me know what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong. But let's get into it. So what I'm reacting to today is going to be times when I've had my sons or daughters come up to me, start talking about dating. Immediately, at least dating to a point was not just hanging out. We were talking about like seriously dating, and or just starting to go out and actually, start doing that young adult socialization, and I take importance of being smart while you're dating. Also, being smart with protection, things like that, depending on how your son or daughter is or how you are. But it's very important. So with that, didn't use textbooks, didn't use, let's say, things like this to show, just didn't say, okay, this is what a 6-week looks like, this is what an 8-week looks like, this is what a 12, this is 24, and this is 38, 36. But when you look at them, you're like, wow, you're looking at 8, they're already developing at 8 weeks. So that's 2 weeks into it. And a lot of times when people are young, they don't want to, they don't even know what's going on. A lot of times they find out after 8 weeks. And, all of a sudden 12 comes around and they don't think, oh, that's still third trimester. I mean, but look at this. I mean, you can see where it's developed. That's, developed. It may be small, but it's developed. And, some of this video is going to explain. Because what I did talk to him is, I just talking about emotional, just emotional things of a relationship anyways. But this video is going to focus on what happens if you end up having an accident. Luckily for me, like I said, none of my kids had any even close to accidents, just because they understood the importance and they knew what decisions they would have to make if they ended up not taking things seriously. Now, I know accidents can happen out there, things can happen, but ultimately they made it through, and whatever method they used, they were able to make it through. We don't have any kids. They're all adults now, young adults, at least my kids are. So it was videos like this that I showed them, and this is also videos that I showed other people when I talk about these, and I'm just going to use this video as like late-term abortions, where people say they don't happen. We're in Colorado. It does happen, and this is the stuff that's out there. And yes, they could be an option. However, these options can lead to a lot more hardship, mental issues, depression, and things like that. Just because a lot of people don't even get a chance to see at what stage of development their fetus was at the time, what stage their baby was at the time. And a lot of times when they just don't want to know, so they take care of it, and then all of a sudden, boom, they go in, do whatever, and then they regret it, and then they realize, wow, they were at that stage. And then I get in conversations when we start talking about all abortion should be okay, and then we get to the late terms, and then people don't think that they're, oh well, no, that's not what I'm talking about. Well, you have to understand what you're voting for. Like, for instance, I live in one of the states where you can go all the way to the end of the third trimester. As long as the baby's in you, you can get rid of it. And this like I said, this is going to be a video just on that. But this is the type of videos that I either show youngins that are questioning that say it doesn't happen, or even people I come across say, well, that's ridiculous, that doesn't happen. And a lot of times after that, they start questioning, like, hey, you know what? I do need to look in to see which level, what state, or what stage am I voting for, because I didn't realize that happens. But here you go. Let's go with it. Check it out. That was easy enough for me, but
third trimester, could a physician perform an abortion if he indicated it would impair the mental health of the woman
or physical health?
Okay. I'm talking about the mental health.
So, I mean, through the third trimester. The third trimester goes all the way up to 40 weeks. Are there...
Okay, real quick. So that's all the way up to 40 weeks. 40 weeks. She's saying that at 39 and 6 days or up to 40 weeks, while the baby's in there, you can terminate a fetus.
Any limits on abortion you would find appropriate?
I don't believe so, no. I believe that is between a woman and her physician.
If an Arizona voter were to conclude from your previous answer that you do not favor any specific week limit on abortion, would they be correct?
I support leaving the decision between a woman and her doctor and leaving politicians entirely out of it.
Do you support any limitation on abortion, or do you think that women should have the right to have an abortion all the way up to 9 months?
I believe an abortion is a medical decision, and I believe that should be a choice made between a doctor and a woman and in consultation with her family.
My understanding is there wasn't a limit on when in a pregnancy a woman could receive an abortion. Have you set any limit on
There are no limits.
Do you believe that a woman should be able to terminate a pregnancy up until the moment of birth?
Look, I think that happens very, very rarely.
And I would say, I think that happens very rarely. I think it's a bogus excuse to anything. However, in situations where, talking to, obviously he's talking about the end, late-term abortions, which if you do research, it's not as rare as Google or anybody else tries to tell you. You need to actually do your research to find that out. And then you have just in situations with, kids, end up having babies, it's, some would say it's a rare thing. It happens way too much, too often, but it does happen. No matter if things are rare, things do happen. And if you can, you should try to do your best to avoid it. And information will definitely help you.
And I think this is being made into a political issue. But at the end of the day, I believe that the decision over abortion belongs to a woman and a physician.
Adam, do you think there should be any limitation on abortion?
No, I do not.
My question was about any limits to abortion at any point. Late term, anything?
Look, you got to leave it up to the woman.
I can tell you.
Now, this one is interesting. It was a Virginia governor, I believe, and he was talking about how after, I'm not sure if there was a botched abortion or if it was actually if a woman is thinking of getting rid of the baby at the end and she goes into labor. But here you go.
Exactly what would happen. The infant would be delivered. The infant would be kept comfortable. The infant would be resuscitated if that's what the mother and the family desired. And then a discussion would ensue between the physicians and...
that to me right there is just crazy enough to say that they want to have the kid and then put it aside and then decide on what's going to happen. That's just outrageous to me. But here's so they said all the way up to 40 weeks. Now I'm going to speed this up a little bit just to make it go a little quicker. But they said all the way up to 40 weeks. Remember this, because this is...
This is what dreams are made of.
36 months, or 36 weeks. So 4 weeks after this, you can abort. So they're talking about 4 weeks after this, you should still be able to terminate the baby.
I sit for hours, yelling all the bluebirds, but feeling true, can as the flowers. I sit...
Strange world, it can be a little overwhelming. Yes, I know. You're so welcome to this strange.
4 weeks after this, you can still abort, according to them. 4 weeks after this. That to me is just interesting. Now, what I'm going to show you next is 24 weeks, where in this case, they actually have a very, very high success rate of the fetus still needs assistance, but they can survive. So that gets in the argument of if you're old and you need machines to get you go, do we let you go? No, we don't. So in this case, this is why I'm going all the way back to 24 weeks. Now this is 24 weeks. Remember, they want to get rid of the baby 40 weeks. So do the math. And here you go.
Usually, it's very difficult to important that we
And that was pretty awesome. I mean, that was obviously from 24 weeks until now that she's a grown young lady. That's pretty awesome.
You know how tiny a baby born at 24 weeks really is? Their feet aren't even as long as an adult's thumb. Their tiny fists can barely wrap around a single finger, and their arms are thinner than a grown-up's pinky. They're not just smaller babies. They're lives that arrived 4 months too early. A full-term pregnancy is 40 weeks, but they've only had 24 weeks in the womb. With such a fragile body, they can't breathe, swallow, or regulate their temperature on their own. They rely completely on medical support to survive. Every heartbeat is a fight to keep going. They are more delicate than you can imagine, but also stronger than you'd ever believe. In the neonatal intensive care unit, they grow little by little, fighting day by day, with the help of doctors and the love of their parents. Every preemie is a miracle, racing against time. May every little life that arrives too early be met with tenderness and protected with all our hearts.
And there you go. There's a chart again to see where we're at. And then all of a sudden they want to get rid of all the way up to 40. Now, that when you see that, that's one thing. Then you have this, I believe it's Senator Brandon Gill, who was asking a question. And of course, he's using the time to use it as a stage. But it's also things like this that I needed to tell my kids, that listen to what ends up happening when you decide to make, don't plan right and you make bad decisions. And here we go.
For abortion policy, what's your favorite type of abortion?
I'm an advocate for patients having access to the full realm of reproductive health care.
But do you have a preferred method of abortion that you like?
I do not.
Hold on, let me slow it down for you real quick. Sorry about that. Normal.
I mean, read through a couple different methods, and I want to get your take on how much you like these. The first type is called a suction abortion. This is when the cervix is dilated and a strong suction, 29 times the power of a household vacuum cleaner, tears the baby's body apart and sucks it through the hose into a container. Do you prefer that method?
I stand by my former testimony.
That sounds kind of gross, doesn't it? Sounds pretty gruesome. Do you agree? It does to me.
I stand by how I answered your question fully and accurately.
Okay, what about this one? This one is called dilation and curettage. After dilation of the cervix, a sharp looped knife is inserted into the uterus. The baby's body is cut into pieces and extracted, often by suction. Do you prefer that method?
What I believe we are here to talk about today is the FACE Act. We are not here to talk about the legality of abortion.
I'm asking you, you're a pro-abortion advocate. I'm asking if you prefer the dilation and curettage method.
I am access.
Now, with that, he's, obviously, like I said, grandstanding, but the methods, look them up. They're out there. And when you tell your kids this and you don't beat around the bush and let them know what's going on, or you as kids listening to this, young adults, playing around in the dating situation, this is what ends up happening if you end up making bad decisions. Of course, it depends on what stage you're at, but still, nonetheless, it's this is out there, and depending on when you get it done, a lot of times kids are scared, they don't want to say anything, and then they find out about, or parents find out about it, and then all of a sudden, if the decision was going to be made to terminate it or to kill it, it would have been maybe at a earlier stage, earlier weeks. which, I mean, I guess in my term, maybe what might be better, but I mean, still, you're getting rid of life. As far as I'm concerned, the life is precious.
To reproductive health care advocate.
You don't want to talk about abortion itself. Why is that?
I would prefer to talk about the reason that the committee called the hearing.
Is it because it's uncomfortable to talk about?
Would prefer
It should be uncomfortable.
I would prefer, if you would let me finish my statement, to talk about the Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances Act, which is what I was asked to come
what that access gets. How about this one? It's called dilation and evacuation. Forceps are inserted into the uterus, grabbing and twisting the baby's body to dismember him or her. If the head is too large, it must be crushed in order to remove it. Do you prefer that method?
I would prefer to talk about the reason the hearing was called and the basis of my expert testimony.
It's uncomfortable to hear this, isn't it? It is. I think it is, because it's barbaric and evil. How about this one? It's called the saline injection. It's when a 20% salt solution is injected through the mother's abdomen into the baby's amniotic fluid. The baby's skin is burned off. The baby ingests the solution and dies of salt poisoning, dehydration, and hemorrhaging of the brain. Do you prefer that method?
I would prefer to talk about the subject of the hearing.
This is the subject of the hearing. This is about protests outside of abortion clinics. I'm asking you about abortion.
I stand by my prior testimony.
Okay. I wouldn't want to talk about this either if I were you, because it is barbaric and evil.
Yeah. So with that, I mean, that's just the type of stuff. And that's just the type of things that I showed the kids so that they knew they weren't, wasn't sugarcoating things. They needed to know what an abortion entails. I mean, you also get to the point where, they play games with with this new media and things going around. Like I literally had just put in the definition of abortion. You just can't put abortion in there. But so, when you get people start having a little fun, goofing around with these definitions. But I mean, you look up and this was at least Google. All these are Google. But I had to put definition of abortion, and it is an abortion is an ending of a pregnancy before the fetus can survive outside the uterus. Okay, so then you go, okay, well then what's a fetus? Correct, right? So then a fetus is and of course definition of fetus. A fetus is an unborn offspring of a mammal, in this case human. So an offspring of a human in the stage of development that comes after the embryo stage and lasts until birth. And then we'll go to embryo. What's the definition of embryo? Embryo is the early stage of development for a living thing occurring after sperm and egg fertilization. So those were the definitions. Do your research. Have your kids do your research. Kids, if you're watching this, do your own research. And in particular, when I say do your research, one institution that I can't stand is worst name ever, Planned Parenthood. I don't know what parenthood planning goes on in that area, because all they service is one thing. And I'll leave you with this. All you have to do is do your research on that. Last video, I think I said something about the founder of it, which was Margaret Sanger. And I mean, her whole thing was, again, you have to look it up, and that was part of the video of how it took me having to research beyond my home Google to actually easily pull up other things from other areas, and find out about the white supremacy and why she was a founder of Planned Parenthood and why it was put in certain neighborhoods to ensure it was very easy for non-whites to get abortions. But that's another video. But Planned Parenthood is not anything about Planned Parenthood. I will say, when I did look through my phone and used Google, it didn't answer my questions, but it was interesting that in that video that I made, my home didn't answer it. I don't know why. Answered everything else, but anywho, let's check this one out.
Intended pregnancy, and they need to make a decision, and we counsel them on all of their options.
Okay. So she just said that she was a founder or speaker of Planned Parenthood, saying that they're there for anything, because that's, I mean, the name's Planned Parenthood. You would think, right? You would think. But
Some women also come to us because they have an unintended pregnancy and they need to make a decision, and we counsel them on all of their options.
Thank you for calling Planned Parenthood. My name. How can I help you today?
Yeah, hi. I'm calling to find out about adoption information.
We don't have that here. This is Planned Parenthood.
Oh, yeah. I guess I thought you did that. I thought you helped with adoptions.
No, we do abortions.
We do abortion here. But like with the 3 options, I guess I could do an abortion in the clinic, but the other 2 options, I would have to go outside of Planned Parenthood.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Do you have ultrasounds in your clinic? Could I get
only during a termination, because that's the only service that we do. We don't do any prenatal care or adoption here.
And I was just asking what kind.
oh yeah, they don't do any prenatal care. I think there's a stat. I think it's even on here, but it is less than like 10% of them do any type of. So I shouldn't say they don't, but less than 10% of them do any type of prenatal assistance at all. And if you hear the rumor that they hook anybody up with diapers and formula and all that, no, they don't. It doesn't. I mean, maybe there's a .something% of them that do it, but no, that's not one of their services by far.
Of services you offer for pregnant women?
Pregnant women?
Yeah.
Pregnant women who want to continue with the pregnancy?
Yes.
We don't offer services.
We tell you you're pregnant, and we also at Planned Parenthood to do the abortion.
Okay.
There's no pregnancy support, like in general?
We only offer like pregnancy tests and then abortion care if that's what you wanted to go with.
I was calling about your prenatal care that you offered.
So we actually do not offer prenatal care here. I apologize.
But you guys do adoption stuff too in your clinic?
Referrals.
Well, do you do any of the services in your clinic?
We offer abortion services here. Did you have any questions regarding an appointment?
Well, I just don't know what I would have an appointment for because you don't have any of the services I actually need.
Okay. Then I apologize. You may be able to find that information on Google.
On Google, okay.
We don't offer prenatal services.
She said go to Google. Okay. Yeah, I'll go to Google. Thank you. Appreciate it.
You're asking for. We don't offer adoption services. Anything that is close to that, it will be either a pregnancy test or the abortion services.
And I'm thinking about adoption. Can you guys help with that?
Unfortunately, no. No, we don't. Google you should go online and Google adoption agencies, okay?
So if you're choosing to terminate...
Sounds like Google's a better option than Planned Parenthood. Okay. Planned Parenthood or Google.
the pregnancy, we can make an appointment at this office. But if you're not terminating the pregnancy, if you're going to continue the pregnancy, then we would refer you out.
So
Sounds like you really don't need to see us here at Planned Parenthood.
Okay.
And thanks to Live Action for that. But just saying, right then and there, I mean, Planned Parenthood, not so planned about being in any type of parenthood. It's about terminating the pregnancy. Google's your best option. So, anyway, as I tell you guys, stay in school.